Right, Mira, so here's your critic. Um, Alright, I see that you've gotten some comments from Sir Nabil, so let's have a look at that. Um, where are we? No, Amira binti Amran. Comments from Sir Nabil. Okay. Yep, true. Okay. Oh. So I assume he was referring to this poster here. Well, I'm not so sure which one I should comment, but I'll come back to this later. In a how to say, in a sense, this is, I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to say, but there's just so many things on it. Like one, you have this. This is hard. I'm not gonna use it. Let's just bring it into Photoshop. Now the good thing about this poster here is that you have this really nice colorful reef going on. Perhaps if you could, you could have used Photoshop's hue and saturation and kind of play around with the saturation a bit in parts of the image so that it's more vibrant. See that, all of a sudden we have a really vibrant picture here. So play around with the levels in hue and saturation to really bring out that niceness in the image. Anyway, I know, I have a feeling that you're going with this, but I feel that I need to comment about this because I think it's working in the sense that you have a nice reef and a nice turtle here. It feels very fresh and lively, and if I get it right, that what you're trying to say is this beauty will be broken up if we don't take care of our future. Although it's not really obvious that you're trying to say this. One could only assume that this is what you're trying to say, and therefore it doesn't really work as well. Plus, you also have all this stuff. In particular, this guy and this guy. I know, you're trying to convey the emotion that it's sad that the reefs are dying, and here's Nemo, a clownfish, looking really angry about the whole scenario. But it also looks very, how to say, funny. I mean, it doesn't really, you're trying to get that emotion that this is a serious and sad thing, but when you put in pictures like this, it feels like it came off something like South Park or something. But anyway, so let me digress. This is kind of working, but it also has lots of other things, and slapping our reef, our future down there without anything to support it, and the visuals are not really helping, it's not going to kind of give you good points with the judges. So I'm going to kind of close this one and not look at it again. We are going to focus our eyes on this one, which I assume is the current poster, the current file that you're working on. So let's have a look at it. Okay, on the outset, it's not really working for me because this feels very desaturated. What I mean by that, everything is in the same hue, is in the same tone. The only thing that's kind of vibrant in this picture is this part. Although it looks, to someone who's not really versed in the whole coral thing, they would say that these are dead reefs. And if you ask me, I don't even know whether these are living reefs or dead reefs. When in general, and I've mentioned this in a lot of your other friends' comments, your other friends' work, that in general, when you think about coral reefs, you think about life surrounding the reef. You think about. Wow, that looks very similar to your work. Let me just have a look. It is. Alright, that's something to note. You gotta be careful with which picture you use, because this is something that came off the internet, and according to the rules, if you were really listening to the briefing, the kickoff briefing, they did mention that you can't simply use any picture of the internet. Pictures, in particular pictures that you cannot prove that it belongs to you. So please don't use this. Use whatever they have given. Although I do understand that not all of these pictures are really nice and pretty. That's kind of not there, isn't it? Although you can do something about this. Let me just experiment with it. I'm going to grab that image. Not that one, perhaps. This one. So let me just quickly do this. Let's download that first. Let me just pause it, and I'll come back to you once I bring it into focus. Right, so here we are. It's a rather big image. It's a rather big file, mind you. So if you were to kind of do I don't know, auto levels on it. I'm not sure where the command is. Normally I use Control Shift L. So okay, nothing happens. Let's just use the saturation controls on this one. See, if you play around with the saturation, all of a sudden you get this really colorful thing going on. And if you know your way around Photoshop, and if you can edit this image excellently, I'm pretty sure you can get a really nice poster going on. Right, before, after. So please, I don't know, do something about the images. Use it to your advantage. Not all of them are really good images, but I'm pretty sure there's something you can do with perhaps some of them. Anyway, let's go back to your work. Right, so this is not working for me. It's not the best picture of the coral reef that you could use. Use saturations like crazy. Not like crazy. It's subtly, but you just need to know how much to use it. It's just like editing photos on Instagram. Anyway, let's just look at it. So, alright, I'm trying to get my head around this whole thing. What are you trying to say? Alright, you're trying to say a lot of things. In general, you're trying to slap this copywriting here, which I'm not so sure where you got it from. First things first, they it doesn't really drive the message home. Like, what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that this coral reef, and see, when you start a sentence with let me just get this color. When you start a sentence with "dia," what is "dia"? What are you talking about? Are you referring to this turtle here? Are you referring to the fishes here? Are you referring to, and I know what you're referring to, you're trying to refer to the reef. But it's not really obvious that you're trying to say that, isn't it? And therefore, you need to kind of work your copywriting so that it's more easily understood, yeah? Alright. So you're trying to say that the corals is home to many species of fish, blah 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 blah, play a unique role. Okay, you're trying to say that. It's like you're trying to say this message, but that doesn't really say anything much. We're trying to alert the public that the corals are dying, and something needs to be done. And perhaps if you want to go in another direction, we're trying to say that the corals are dying, and why are they dying? And we're trying to show the reasons behind their destruction. That's what you need to say in your poster, and not just simply say that the corals shelter. Or perhaps the idea that the corals shelter life is okay, but you need to supplement it with something else, um, like what I said earlier, alert the public that something is going to happen to our corals if we don't take care of them, you know, in that kind of line. um, all right, so some other notes that I think I want to add is try to get a better kind of font going on with this one here. This is, if I am not mistaken, this is pretty much Times New Roman. Learn from what you see in posters, and let's just get another one. Let's not use WWF. What's a good poster to use? UNESCO maybe. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, WWF posters are always the best posters. Trying to think of something else. What's a good? Can't think of one though. Well, WWF it is. Anyway, if you look at the WWF posters, let's use this one here. Right. Look at that. This is pretty much a standard type of font. It came from standard font family. But I have a feeling it's not the standard ones that you would get straight off from the Windows system fonts. It's something that needs to be downloaded off something like Adobe Font Kit. And if you want to know what that is, it's basically this. If you're using the original Adobe Creative Suite, Adobe CC, you will find that there's this thing called Typekit, and if you press that, it'll bring you to the Adobe website where you can find more fonts that you can use for free, because you have a running Adobe CC license, and it goes by sans serif, serif, all sorts of fonts, even the handwriting ones. Yeah, so if possible, try to get Typekit or the original Adobe CC or Photoshop CC running it on your laptop or computer, and you can have access to this whole huge range of fonts from the Typekit webpage. If not, other recommendations are you can always buy those fonts from online, and there are many places to buy fonts, but mind you, it's gonna cost you a lot as well. But I don't know if you can manage with whatever system fonts that Windows supplies you with already, then that would be good already enough. But try not to use Times New Roman. We're not doing a thesis, we're not doing a report here. And that one as well, it looks, this is better in the sense that you actually thought of mixing a serif font with a sans serif font. But what's not working is this is pretty much a standard font. It seems like if you kind of use it and got it from off the Windows system fonts, there's a chance that other participants, other students who are participating, will use the same kind of font, and you want to avoid that. You want to impress the judges, so go a bit extra in terms of your font selection. Yeah, all right. And also try not to, you have to consider that the logo itself has two different type of fonts already, and if you were to introduce more different looking fonts, we're gonna have like so many fonts in our poster. So if I were to count, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of fonts in your poster as it is. So try to take care of that as well. I'm going to talk about the illustrations as well. This is a pattern. It is kind of intricate and nice, but I mean, I'm not so sure where you're heading with this. It looks pretty, but it seems a bit off and doesn't belong in this poster. And therefore, do not just simply slap a pattern just because it looks nice. You have to use the pattern for a reason. It may seem like this is what leafy and floral and whatnot, but we're talking about corals. We're not doing leafy stuff. Plus, it doesn't really, I don't know, if you ask me, it just doesn't work with the turtle. There's no significance, unless it's a pattern of turtle skin or something. Yeah, so that's not working for me. Please, I don't know, do something about that. Look at that, the fishes, they're not pretty. I mean the idea here is these are hands, and as I have another point about the hands here, these are hands, but they're trying to save this nice beautiful thing. But just by looking at it, they're not that pretty, aren't they? I mean, if the fishes are colorful and nice and pretty and cute, something like what we saw here, I mean, probably, yeah, you can have hands down there, if you get what I mean. This is a nice illustration of cute animals, and then you have a hand trying to save. I mean, that works, but right now it's not pretty enough that it requires saving. So therefore, make this illustration pretty and nice and cute, and whatever, colorful, all the adjectives for positive coral reef and coral life, and I think that might work. Here, it's not working for me because, yeah, I know you're trying to go abstract, but this is too abstract. It even borders close to being a bit lazy in terms of, I'm not saying you're lazy, I'm saying that the work is shoddy. You didn't really put a lot of effort in trying to get those hands working. I mean, it's also a matter of knowing how to do it as well. Some people might say, I just can't draw, it's hard to draw. Well, I'm not asking you to draw from scratch. If you find it difficult, what you can always do is just Google a set of hands. Google hands. There might be an app for that. Okay, anyway, there is something freaky going on here. Ugh, okay. Anyway, that's a nice one, isn't it? You can use this one, have beautiful coral reef in there. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying get this image and use it straight away in your poster. Take this and put it in Illustrator perhaps, and produce a vector drawing of it. And I'm not saying using image trace as well. You can always use the brush tools in Illustrator or use Photoshop and start sketching, if you get what I mean. It's like, say I'm trying to produce an illustration of this guy here. You can always start sketching, something like that, slowly, and later on, and of course you need a Wacom to do this. Is why I always tell you, as graphics and multimedia students, it's good if you could invest in a Wacom. Although what I'm using here is a pretty standard brush. Brushes are available online, or you can create your own brushes, but just for the sake of demonstration, I'm just gonna show you this. I mean, it's not that hard to achieve. I mean, all of a sudden you would have a drawing of something, and if you're really detailed about it, I mean, this is just a sketch, but you can go further from here. I don't know, start messing around with things with different colors, make it more sketchy and whatnot. I don't know, make it cute. Sample different colors so that it's more organic and doesn't feel like it came off digital. You know, whatnot. I can go on, and there's tons of walkthroughs and videos online that kind of show you how to use the Photoshop brush tools. And when I'm talking about brush, it's this actually. If you look at here, we have all sorts of brushes, and Photoshop gives you tons of brushes as it is, and you can change the size of the brush, and you can start, you know, doing something like that, play with the opacity and whatnot, you know, do all sorts of things. Sample different colors, perhaps. Probably I could use a different background. It's not working. You know, well, I hope you get what I mean. Yeah, and you know, whatever, do all sorts of things. It is possible. It just requires a bit more work to achieve it. All right, so let's just go back to your. Hold on, bear with me. All right, and that's about it in terms of. Oh yeah, the other biggest thing I want you to really pay attention to is the layout. Right now, this is a jumble of things. Well, things like layout, they're not really. I'm not saying it's easy, but there's a way of working so that you can, you know, it always starts with a sketch, right? You kind of say, okay, this is where your image is. If you want to go really simple, you can do that. So reef check, the logo will be here. Maybe copywriting sits here. Our reef, our future, blah 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 is here. You know, then we have a bit of copywriting. Probably the link can go down there. And now you have a standard basic layout, and this is the most basic that you can come up with. If you want to be clever, perhaps you can always I don't know, use all sorts of conventions as you know, you can say that you want like that kind of structure going on, or I don't know, perhaps, you know, you want to do that and have all your stuff, your visuals here, and then you have, you know, I don't know, maybe coral, you know, that's like some pressure, you know, this is all the pollution visuals. And then you have all the corals here, as if, you know, they're being pressured. Yeah, coral, fish, whatnot, all the beautiful stuff. And then you have, maybe bring it down a bit more, so not this. And then probably the reef check logo can come down here, and we have our reef, our future, and then you have copywriting here. Well, when it comes to layout, this is what I'm talking about. You need to have something going on, and if you don't really know how to come up with a nice layout, just Google posters, and it doesn't have to be WWF, you know, on what, safe water. All right, so let's have a look at that. You're not the prettiest one. So let me just refugees, can I say that? Yeah, let's get a good one. This is not too bad. It's very central, but it works. You know, you have the central image in the middle, our reef, our future. Then you know, reef check, blah blah blah. If you want to go in that direction, what's this one? This is not too bad. It has a nice flow to it, if you get what I mean. You have that big image, it's very central. This is what you see. You see a woman from a third world country, perhaps, trying to water her plants or something, and we have the tagline there, nicely set on a contrasty background. You have the logo, you have the link perhaps here, and it works. The visuals tell the story. And therefore, that's pretty much it for my comments. Well, don't give up. I know I comment a bit harsh, but it's all for the benefit to improve your work. So please work on it and never give up. Assalamualaikum. Mira, is it? Alright, yeah, thanks.